Hello and welcome to Mangatori96, and today we're going to talk about Arifureta Shokugyou de Sekai Saikyou. Today's topic will be the 7 labyrinths that the liberators created in order to prepare anybody who wished to challenge the Mad God, as they themselves failed, with Hajime and Yue being the only 2 individuals to have cleared all 7 of those labyrinths. But before we start, here's the spoiler warning, as I'll be spoiling a lot of things in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I would highly recommend that you go and read the light novel, as it is an enjoyable read. For everyone else, let's start with what the labyrinths even are. The Great Labyrinths are 7 special dungeons which are scattered around the world of Tortoise, each having been created by one of the last members of the most powerful liberators. Said to be extremely dangerous, the true reason for their creation isn't publicly known in the present time. But in the past it was said that the labyrinths were created by the Mavericks, who were rebels that tried to bring about the end of the world. But God put a stop to their plans, and the Mavericks were forced to flee and exile themselves inside the Great Labyrinths. In reality, however, the Great Labyrinths were created by the last surviving and most powerful members of the Liberators, in order to give the necessary tools in the form of ancient magic to those who would rise against the tyranny of Echt and challenge and hopefully win against him, which is something they failed to do so. Each labyrinth has its own concept that is designed to test a specific aspect of the challenger to shape and prepare them to face Echt. This includes mentally preparing challengers against whatever tricks Echt and the Holy Church will no doubt use. This will make successful challengers stronger in mind, body and spirit, which will aid them in conquering other great labyrinths. However, even if the challenger successfully clears the labyrinth or a part of a group that did, they can still fail and be considered unworthy to inherit the ancient magic. The reasons why they failed can be one of 3. They didn't contribute enough to the group's success, meaning they're too weak to be worthy. They failed the test of the labyrinth, proving they're too vulnerable to X manipulation, or they skipped most of the labyrinth and went straight to the final boss. It can be difficult to enter the labyrinths since it is necessary to fulfill some requirements before being able to enter, such as having completed another labyrinth or more. For most, it is also necessary to pass a certain test to be able to enter the real labyrinth, usually something that follows the same theme as the labyrinth but to a lesser degree. Now let us move to the first labyrinth, and that's the Great Orkus Labyrinth. The Great Orkus Labyrinth is located in the town of Horod under the rule of the Holy Kingdom. It is one of the most easily accessible of the labyrinths out there. It's commonly used by all kinds of people in order to either farm for materials or a training ground in order to level up. Initially, it was believed to consist of 100 floors in total, but in reality it is divided into 2 sections, the upper level containing 100 floors and the true labyrinth, which is also composed of 100 floors. It is full of various magic traps, in addition to several monsters of many degrees of strength, which became stronger and more deadly as you enter. The level of the difference between the monsters of the upper level and the true labyrinth is quite drastic. To give you an idea, even a party that was able to successfully clear all the first 100 floors could easily be killed by the weaker monsters from the first floor of the true labyrinth. The labyrinth was created by an ancient synergist and one of the leaders of the Liberators named Oscar Orkus over 2000 years ago, and gives the knowledge of creation magic to those who have overcome its trials. The concept of the labyrinth is giving strength and experience to the challenger so they could overcome their own limits. Moving to the Great Raisin Labyrinth. The labyrinth was created inside the Greenway mines underneath the kingdom of Vel's capital, city Velnica, which existed over 2000 years ago. It was intended to be the most difficult of all the labyrinths and was meant to be conquered last. The Great Raisin Labyrinth is hidden deep within the Raisin Gorge, one of the most dangerous places on Tortoise, because of the natural phenomena of the region which disperses mana before a spell could be activated, and is a nest to powerful and dangerous monsters found on the surface of Tortoise. Because of the inherited phenomena of the region, it is practically impossible to use magic inside the Raisin Labyrinth as well, and the effect gets stronger as one goes deep inside the labyrinth. The structure of the labyrinth is like a maze filled with all kinds of non-magical traps and an army of golems. Also, the maze-like structure of the labyrinth keeps changing after a certain period of time, so it's difficult to map out the region as well. The labyrinth was created by an ancient mage and one of the leaders of the liberators named Rysen over 2000 years ago, and gives the knowledge of gravity magic, one of the Age of Gods magic, to choose who has overcome its trial. The concept of the labyrinth is force challengers to clear obstacles without the aid of magic. Moving on to the Grand Guren Vulcan. The Grand Guren Vulcan is located in Guren Desert. It's 5 kilometers in diameter at its base and has a height of 3 kilometers. It is conical like most volcans, but shaped more like a dome. Its summit is flat, however, unlike most domes. It's one of the few labyrinths whose location is well documented in modern times, the only other being the Great Orkus Labyrinth. But it's not frequent as much due to it being more dangerous and not as rewarding to face. It has about 50 floors and is filled with rivers of lava that are suspended mid-air. The intense heat causes explorers to lose their energy quickly and can be deadly after being exposed for too long. Despite being an active volcano, it has never erupted. This is due to a keystone that keeps the magma contained inside the labyrinth. Once the keystone is destroyed, however, it will erupt violently and destroy the labyrinth, though it will repair itself over time. The labyrinth was created by one of the leaders of the liberators, Nice Gruin Kalteni, over 2000 years ago, and gives the knowledge of special magic to those who overcome it. The concept of the labyrinth is test how challengers can keep their focus and respond to constant surprises while under extreme stress. Moving on to the sunken ruins of Melusine. The sunken ruins of Melusine is located at the bottom of the Western Sea near Erison. It is hidden under a mound of dirt beneath the sea. The only way to find this is to conquer the Grand Gruin Vulcan and obtain proof of that feat in the form of a pendulum of a woman holding a lamp. A person must hold the pendant in front of a full moon and allow the light to pass through the slot where the lamp is supposed to be. That will cause the labyrinth to rise up from the seafloor. This makes it the only labyrinth where the challengers both need to have already cleared another labyrinth and go through a partial as well, as they need to be able to reach the bottom of the ocean to enter the labyrinth. Challengers will face various sea creatures until they are led to rooms that will show them mana-based illusions of Tortoise history involving Echt. The illusions will then turn hostile and attack the challengers and can only be destroyed with mana. The most dangerous creature the challengers will face is a nearly indestructible gelatinous monster known as the War. The labyrinth was created by one of the leaders of the liberators, Melusine, over 2000 years ago, and gives the knowledge of restoration magic to those who have overcome its trial. The concept of the labyrinth is exposing the horrors that the gods have inflicted upon the world. Moving on to the Divine Mountain. The Divine Mountain is located where the Holy Church is situated on the mountain that is near the palace of the Holy Kingdom. In order to reach the labyrinth, a challenger must meet 3 conditions: to have cleared at least 2 other labyrinths, or to be with someone who was when they enter, dissolving the god of Tortoise, and having defeated someone under the god's influence. If a person has not met the 3rd condition of defeating someone who worships the gods, they will be tested through a series of mental trials. This includes being brainwashed into serving Echt after their subconscious leads them astray with visions and all manner of misdirection and persuasion. If they have managed to clear them, they will fight against illusions of past warriors from the church. Only after clearing the challenges will the spirit of the labyrinth creator appear and guide them to the room that will award them with the ancient magic. The labyrinth was created by one of the leaders of the liberators, Laos Barn, over 2000 years ago and gives the knowledge of spirit magic to those who overcome its trial. The concept of this labyrinth is to test the challengers' resolve to overthrow the gods. Moving on to the haltanian Labyrinth. The haltanian Labyrinth is located in the Grand Tree Ural that was the center of the Sea of Trees. It was initially believed by most people to enter the forest itself was the labyrinth. It can only be accessed after the challenger has already conquered 4 other labyrinths, including the sunken ruins of Melusine, and has established a good relation with the Beastman. The labyrinth looks like a large forest, and each level is filled with many monsters that are insects or trees. Once challengers enter into the labyrinth, their minds, memories and feelings will be first read and analyzed by the labyrinth during the teleportation into the labyrinth. The challengers will then be separated from each other upon entering, and some will have their bodies changed into monsters depending on their relationship to each other. The unchanged challengers will thus then be sent upon by hordes of monsters, where they will then run into their transformed companions and may end up killing them by mistake. However, if their comrades can identify them and manage to reunite, they will then later be sent to a room that will trap and encase them in amber-like pods and force them to experience their deepest desires. If they manage to successfully break the illusion, they will be then forced to overcome their strongest sexual desires after being exposed to a substance that will greatly increase their lust, leading the challengers to slowly give into the carnal desire and instincts towards each other. The final test will be to face a cockroach monster that's simultaneously the power of the Apostles of Echt, while also having their emotions reversed so that it will cause them to be antagonistic towards their comrades under normal circumstances. The labyrinth was created by one of the leaders of the Liberators, Melusine Haltina, over 2000 years ago, and gives the knowledge of evolution magic to those who have overcome its trial. The concept of this labyrinth is to test the challengers' bonds that have been forged. And lastly, the Frost Cavern of Schnee. The Frost Cavern of Schnee is located in the southern region of the continent at the fringes of the Demon territory. The entrance is on a large crevice that is miles below the surface. The extreme cold will normally weaken challengers before they even enter the labyrinth. It is full of many monsters and traps designed to weaken a person both physically and mentally. The first obstacle will be facing monsters in the form of cute bunnies that will zap challengers of their warmth. Once inside, challengers confront white gorilla-like monsters that will be able to easily coordinate against most attacks. Challengers will have to navigate a series of passages made out of ice. The walls will be embedded with the bodies of all those that failed to clear the labyrinth, and they will be reanimated as zombies and attack the current challengers. Although they will be weak, there are many of them that can regenerate after any attack. The challengers will then enter a room that can only be cleared once its mana crystal is destroyed. It will create many monsters out of ice and snow to act as its defense and prevent challengers from destroying the crystal. Once that room is cleared, the next obstacle is a giant maze. It will prevent anyone from attempting to fly past it by instantly teleporting them back to the ground, while it coats their bodies in ice and gradually has ice shards skewer them. Even if challengers reach the maze exit, they will be unable to escape unless they find the 3 keys to the exit gate that are hidden throughout the maze. Challengers will then walk through a long single pathway while they hear their own voices in their heads that will expose all of their fear and hatred they have towards themselves or someone else. This will continue until they enter a room that will create frost golems for each of them to fight one-on-one. The room is coated in ice that is designed to reflect a challenger's magic back at them once it hits the golem's shield. The greatest disadvantage, however, is that the voice that the challengers previously heard will impair them by lowering their energy and could even cause them to unconsciously attack their comrades if they are the source of their negative feelings. If the challenger defeats the designed frost golem, they will be able to leave through a portal and be separate from everyone else. Each person will be sent to a large room with an ice pillar in the middle. It will then spawn a copy of the person that will try to kill them. The copy represents all negative aspects of that person while possessing all of their memories and skills. It will grow stronger the more a person tries to deny those negative qualities, but will grow weaker if a person learns to accept and embrace them. The copy can also offer the challengers to make them stronger if they allow it to merge with them. The labyrinth was created by one of the leaders of the Liberators, Wander Schnee, over 2000 years ago and gives the knowledge of metamorphosis magic to those who overcome its trial. The concept of this labyrinth is conquering oneself by overcoming all of their negative aspects. With this, I covered everything that I wanted to cover on the Great Labyrinths. And that will be all for this video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or subscribe to the channel for more manga reviews and One Piece content. And until next time, take care.